This is QTV News with me, Mamudu Gajaga. Our top stories. 2 senior government officials have been suspended for their alleged involvement in the deadly Farabaugh Incident. A sexual and gender-based violence unit has been instituted. Their task is to investigate and prosecute gender-based violent cases. And the Alcalá of Fatoto calls for a new constitutional provision which will bar leaders from entrenching themselves in power. Those are our main stories, and now the news in detail. The directors of the National Environment Agencies and Geology Departments have been suspended for 6 months without salary for their alleged involvement in the circumstances leading to the deadly Farabaugh incident. Justice Minister Bah Tambadou made this revelation on Monday while sharing with the public through the media the Gambia government's white paper on the report of the Farabaugh Bantam Commission of Inquiry. Aliou Cisse can bring us the rest of the story.
Speaking at the Justice Ministry in Banjul on Wednesday afternoon, Attorney General and Justice Minister Bah Tambadou reveals that Cabinet has, among other things, decided to replace the Alcalá of Farabaugh Nuha Kujabi in accordance with the Local Government Act. He further reveals that recommendations have been given to the Brikama Area Council to change the current Village Development Committee and Council of Elders of Farabaugh.
Those persons at the National Environment Agency and the Geological Department directly responsible for the failure to follow established guidelines in the issuance of the mining license to Julake Limited have been suspended without pay for 6 months with immediate effect. 5. The license issued to Julake Limited for sand mining in Farabaugh Bantam has since expired in July 2018 and shall not be renewed. Nor shall Julake Limited be issued with any license for the conduct of any other mining activities in Farabaugh Bantam until further notice. And 6, that all sand mining activities in Farabaugh Bantam village have been suspended until a proper environmental impact assessment is carried out by an independent consultant, and only after proper consultations with all key stakeholders in the village, including the women.
The incident left 3 people dead, several injured, and destruction of properties. Tambadou reveals that government has taken measures which include criminal prosecution to be continued against ASP Musa Fati, PC Musa Baji, PC Nuha Kwali, First Class Mod Z Jallo, and Superintendent Babakar Cham for the death of Bakari Kujabi, Ismail Abba, and Amadou Jao. In addition, he says there will be criminal prosecution against all those identified for the willful destruction of properties.
Has found that while there was no proper coordination of the operation by the police on 18 June 2018, the Commission found that no orders, and I emphasize, no orders, were given by the police high command to shoot at the crowd. In essence, the police intervention unit personnel who fired at the villagers did so without lawful command and acted alone.
The Justice Minister says the victim of the incident will be compensated and a committee for that will be set up. However, he says the amount of compensation will be determined by the committee.
The families of those who died and those who sustained serious injuries are to be compensated by the state. 5. That those who lost their properties as a result of the vandalism and arson are also to be compensated by the state. And 6. That a Farabaugh Bantam Compensation Committee comprising the permanent secretaries of the Ministries of Interior, Local Government and the Environment has been established under the joint chairmanship of the Solicitor General and the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance to handle all compensation claims as recommended by the Commission.
Ibrahim Okamara is the head of Civil Service and Secretary General, and this is what he has to say.
The Director General or the Director of the Department of Geology has been suspended, and so too is the Chief Executive Director of NEA has been suspended, and their letters have been distributed already.
The Farabaugh incident erupted when villagers clashed with armed security personnel over a sand mine activity by Julake Sand Mining Company. After the incident, President Barrow visited the village to consult the villagers before appointing a commission of inquiry chaired by lawyer Emmanuel Jove. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Usainu Dabo, has launched the newly created Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Unit under the Ministry of Justice. The mandate of the unit is, among other things, to investigate and prosecute gender-based violent cases. Let's join Alucisa again.
The Justice Ministry says the launching of the unit is part of the transitional justice process in partnership with the Office of the Inspector General of Police and the Department of Social Welfare. The unit is designed to improve the investigation and prosecution of sexual offences cases involving assault, rape, and other forms of sexual and gender-based violence usually inflicted against women and children. It is reported that from 2014 to 2017, over 1,500 cases of gender-based violence were registered by the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, with over 600 sexual violence cases mainly against children. In his launching statement at the Lyco Atlantic Hotel in Banjul on Wednesday, the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, His Excellency Usainu Dabo, says there are so many unreported violent cases. According to VP Dabo, sexual and gender-based violence remain a major problem despite government's commitment to curbing the menace. Protecting women and children, according to the country's number 2, is high on government's agenda. He therefore calls for partnership of all concerned stakeholders.
It is common knowledge that acts of sexual and gender-based violence are under or mostly unreported, and that women and children are the most vulnerable in our societies. The need for their targeted protection is therefore unquestionable. We must acknowledge that sexual and gender-based violence remain a problem in our communities despite government's best efforts in creating appropriate legislative and policy initiatives to combat this menace. The government of the Gambia, after ratification of relevant international and regional treaties, notably the Convention for the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, the Maputo Protocol to the African Charter, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, have enacted national laws in line with its strict obligations for the promotion and protection of the rights of women and children.
Speaking earlier on, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, Sharon Woodall, says the launching of the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Unit is timely. Gender-based violence, he told the gathering, is preventable but requires concerted efforts. For Sharon, offenders should be brought to face justice while assuring of our office support to the unit.
As we are in the middle of marking the 16 days of global activism against gender-based violence, something that the UK government and I personally care strongly and passionately about. Sexual violence and the stigma associated with it are both abhorrent and preventable. We must use all means necessary to end them, which means governments, international organisations, civil society and others coming together to pledge never to sweep the issue under the carpet. Now is the time to act, and you are doing so through the launch of this new unit.
Hadimboj of the Network Against Gender-Based Violence has this to say.
This organization was founded in 2009. But why? It was founded, we are fully aware that the government was doing a lot in the area of gender-based violence, and civil society organizations that were here were doing a lot in gender-based violence. But what Network Against Gender-Based Violence have realized was how do we come together and work together as one unit? How do we coordinate? That was why this CSO was established. This was established because the person behind this has the opportunity to work in all the areas of women empowerment. This person has also understand what gender-based violence is. This person was a school dropout, primary 6. This person was married at the age of 12 years. And this person worked so hard to be where the person is. And that is no other person, my humble self.
She calls for government support to addressing some of the challenges the network is faced with. Kunle Adeneye, the resident coordinator for the United Nations Population Fund, says the creation of the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Unit manifests Gambia government commitment to ending all forms of gender-based violence. For him, sexual and gender-based violence remain one of the most prevailing human rights violations against women. Speaking on behalf of the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Abah, Assistant Inspector, says combating gender-based violence is one of the priority areas of the Gambia Police Force. He says the Gambia Police Force has created a unit on gender-based violence and will continue to work proactively in ending gender-based violence. The members of the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence are drawn from the Ministry of Justice, Police Prosecution Unit, Gender Unit of the Police, and the Department of Social Welfare. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Sise.
The Alcala of Fatoto says he wants the entrenchment of provisions in the new constitution that will bar leaders from entrenching themselves in power. He made these remarks at the CRC Public Consultation meeting held in Fatoto. Ansumana Esunyasi reports from Fatoto.
Received by the Alcalo, CRC officials were in Fatoto as part of the Commission's ongoing public engagements to enhance the reviewing process and ensure that Gambians take charge of their destiny. The CRC is providing the platform where all opinions will be catered for. Fatoto and Koina are the last villages in the country, and they too have not been left out. Welcoming the commissioners, Alcalo Abdurrahman Balde said Fatoto is delighted to welcome the commissioners and their traveling team. He said the constitution is the most important document in the country, and therefore providing Gambians the opportunity to have a say as to how they want to be governed is highly welcomed. For him, term limit for the presidency should be an entrenched provision in the new constitution. We welcome this initiative. Your coming here means a lot to us. The law is for everyone, and so drafting this constitution should be everyone's business. For me, the Gambia needs to concentrate more on enacting provisions that will empower laws on term limit. Yes, 2 terms and you leave. Our leaders have a culture of wanting to stay in power forever, even if we don't want them anymore. The 2016 elections is enough evidence, so term limits should be prioritized. Questions were raised by commissioners on various topics including citizenship, elections, the executive and service commissions, the legislative and fundamental rights and freedoms. Mohamed Sumare is a resident of Fatoto and he reckons that foreigners who are permanent residents in the Gambia should be given citizenship. If a foreigner is permanently resident in this country for a period of 7 years, we should give them citizenship. Yes, I support that, but provided they don't have any criminal records. Ibrahim Jawara holds a different opinion. For him, if one is not born in the Gambia, you shouldn't be considered Gambian. No, I don't agree. How can you consider them Gambians when at some point they will go back to their respective countries? It's either you are born here or your parents are born here. For me, the only true form of citizenship is by birth. Today's public consultations in Fatoto and Koina will bring to an end the CRC officials' public meetings in this part of the country. Reporting for QTV News from Fatoto, I am Ansumana Isonyasi.
A one-day validation workshop on the draft Gambia Development Planning Policy was on Wednesday organized by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. The policy provides a framework that will guide the formulation, implementation, and monitoring of national, regional plans and sectoral strategies. Babukar Sise has more of the details.
In his welcome remarks, Director of Development Planning Alhaji Fadera explains that the draft development policy was formulated by consulting various stakeholders at national, regional, and sectorial level.
Following those consultations, we are here today to look at the draft policy with a view to reviewing it and providing comments for consideration and finalization of the policy before it is submitted to Cabinet for approval. The saying goes that if we fail to plan, we're basically planning to fail is really a truth in that we cannot achieve the kind of development that we want unless and until it is very purposeful, it is very coordinated, so that different stakeholders, that includes government, our development partners, the private sector, civil society, and the citizenry, can effectively coordinate their interventions to achieve the development results.
The Deputy UNDP resident representative in the Gambia, Golokai Gold, says the absence of a planning policy or an act regulating a planning currently has resulted in some weaknesses in a legislative and policy environment which affects the effective national development planning.
There is an evident need to have a policy to develop to fill this gap. and UNDP is pleased to have collaborated with the government to formulate a clear and coherent development planning policy. It is noted that this current new administration has embarked on a series of reforms as enshrined in the National Development Policy 2018 to 2021. Key among the reform agenda is the recognition given to planning and the old adage, planning is not everything, but without planning, you plan to fail.
The Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Honorable Mambure Njai, explains the two major proposals in the draft policy document and the impact on the Ministry of Finance.
The major proposal in this document is provision of a clearly defined policy framework which empowers the Directorate of Development Planning in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs to have the relevant authority to carry out its mandate and to guide its operation. Another major policy proposal in this document is to restructure, strengthen, and empower the Directorate of Development Planning, including the sectoral and regional planning units, to enable them to effectively carry out their planning functions. During this validation workshop, the consultant will present the draft policy, and different groups will look at different aspects of the policy and give their feedback during the plenary for consideration in the finalization of the policy.
Honorable Njai added that after the draft is adopted by Cabinet, it will now depend on the Gambia as a nation to conduct the planning processes in the manner that effectively and adequately reflects the national development aspirations, challenges, and targets set out in various development blueprints. Babukar Sise, QTV News.
The Lord Mayor of Kanifing and head of the Regional Security Task Force, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, held a consultative meeting on Wednesday with the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services following complaints of attacks on officers and damage of equipment. Sergeant Brito tells us more.
The meeting's agenda was centered on the recent spate of attacks on personnel and damage of equipment of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services in our communities. The multi-stakeholder engagement, attended by the Mayor of KMC, officers of the Fire and Rescue Services, alcalos and religious leaders, highlighted the significant role fire officers play in society, but most importantly, confronting challenges the Fire and Rescue Department is faced with. Speaking at the consultative meeting, Lord Mayor of Kanifing Municipal Council Talib Bensouda emphasized the role of the fire department as Gambians rely on them in the case of emergencies and the need for them to be protected in the execution of their duties. Chief Executive Fire Officer Samba Jacob Jaju explained some of the problems they face when they go on field operations. Jaju said fire officers are often welcomed with hostility when they are out to execute their duties. He reiterated the need for the stakeholder meeting as part of efforts to help engage the communities that the Fire and Rescue Services is not their enemy. Meanwhile, Senior Division Fire Officer Ahmad Jangha believes that all governments in the past neglected and failed the Fire and Rescue Services. He made it clear to all the stakeholders that none of the vehicles the fire department is using are bought by government. He said the vehicles came from donors. He also added that the vehicles are not suitable for use in the Gambia due to water capacity issues. Ahmad Jangha called on government to take responsibility and get the institution the right equipment they need. He cited all the challenges like access to water, unnecessary road obstruction, and budget allocation, amongst others. Jangha concluded that politicians, KMC, government, and the National Water and Electricity Company need to prioritize the fire department, and managing the situation, he said, is not a solution. While some of the stakeholders hailed the officers for their selflessness and service to humanity, others also asked for a more holistic approach in addressing the problem and called on the right arm of government to take responsibility. QTV News, I am Saja Brito.
Wonder Year Center of Excellence, a charitable organization based in Gunjur, Medina Salam, in partnership with Recycle UK, on Monday donated 43 bicycles to Kalaji Upper Basic and Senior Secondary Schools in the Fonyi Jarol district of West Coast region. Omar P. Jallo attended the presentation ceremony and files in this report.
Speaking at the presentation, the project coordinator Ibrahim Amar said the bicycles were meant to ease the transport challenges of students traveling long distance to and from school. The bicycle, Mare said, should be mostly used for educational purposes. Therefore, parents must be responsible for any maintenance on the bicycles. He also close and regular monitoring of the bicycles by his organizations to keep the project going.
Wonder Year Center of Excellence is in collaboration with Recycle UK. So this project has started sometime last year, October. We launched the pilot project at Tujereng Senior Secondary School. After launching it there, then we made an assessment about the project. Then when the board of directors and the managers sit together and they come with the perfect idea that they said that it could be helpful when we brought the project to the upper part of the country, where for the school-going children, even they have the money, but they have it very difficult to access their school education system. So that's why we come at this end here. So when we come here, we went to Sibanor, we went to Biam, we went to Kallaji. We come to Kallaji here, Keneba, and we also went to Karantaba and Kianjane Kunda plus Sintet. So that's where we are giving this bicycle yearly, I can say, to the students. Today we are here at Kallaji Senior Secondary School, where we brought 43 bicycles for 43 students. That last year we helped 20 students here, 21 students, and this year we come to supply 43 students, 43 students with bicycles on this car.
The principal of the school, Karamo Sane, said the donation will help increase students' enrollment as well as improve students' punctuality and regularity in school. Sane said it will also save parents from the burden of sending their children to the Greater Banjul area for schooling.
We used to encounter, serious lateness and then, irregularity and also even dropout due to distance. Students travel from villages like Kampasa, Kamamudu, Wasadu, and villages in between. And also even Sintet, which is 3 kilometers from here, Joren, and other villages like Kamanka here. We used to realize serious lateness and absenteeism due to distance and even dropout due to this long distance students travel from home to school and school to home.
The chairperson of the school management committee, Omar A. Sane, urged students and parents to take great care of the bikes.
We are very happy. The donation will help improve the performance as well as punctuality and regularity. We pray that God continue to bless the donors for this great gesture.
Sona Sambu and Ibrahim Jaju are grade 10 students who both used to walk 3.5 kilometers to and from school every day. They have this to say.
The bicycle will going to help me improve my academic. And I am so thankful to those who bring the bicycle project to our school. My special thanks go to those people who bring the bicycle to help the students who are working from long distance to come to school. The bicycle will help me to come to school every day on time. And my promise to those girls is that I will come to school every day on time.
In a separate engagement, the school also received another donation from one Musa Job, an ex-student of the school based in Spain.
We brought desktops, projector, laptop, and cams like video calls and cash power, $11,000 for cash power and internet connection. For the moment, we spend 1,700 plus. That is equivalent to 95,000, excluding the internet cost.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Qcell Mobile Network Company has launched its 50 and 51 new number series after reaching a landmark 1 million subscribers. The new number series has been introduced in order to accommodate the growing needs of customers across the nation. Janaba Sanko reports.
Started operations a decade ago, Qcell has revolutionized mobile communication in the Gambia with top-notch quality services, which makes it the #1 choice for customers. Being the first to launch the 4G LTE, Qcell has taken mobile communication and internet usage to another level. The new number series, 50 and 51, will broaden the subscriber base of the company as it continues to grow not only in the Gambia but in the sub-region.
This is a big milestone because a lot of people doubted whether or not we would even survive for 6 months when we started in 2009. 10 years down the line, I think we're the main operator that everybody looks at. Our main competitor watches every move that we make, and I think that alone stands for Qcell. We're here today because of the good work the technical department has been able to achieve in terms of our network capacity as well. I think everybody played a role, whether it's marketing, sales, finance. If not, we would not have been here. We're hoping to celebrate many major milestones in the future.
Mohamed Jah, CEO of the Q Group, said at the launching ceremony that the company's success so far was as a result of teamwork and a dedicated staff, and not down to him alone as founder.
So when we started in 2009, everybody thought that we will not make it. Things were very tough. And but we knew as a team, I know my team very well, I knew that not only that we will surpass 1 million subscribers, but we would extend our service to other countries. And today, after 9 years of operation, I am happy that that milestone, which we set for ourselves from day one, have been achieved. Today we have surpassed over 1 million subscribers, and we are in Sierra Leone. We will start operation very soon. So, as I said, and I tell people all the time, you have to set goals for yourself. When you wake up in the morning, you run to meet the goals you set for yourself. And you have to dream. But Qcell or the Q Group family have always been dreaming big. And I'm not saying this because I'm the leader of the Q Group family, but everybody in the country knows the impact of the Q Group on the nation.
QuantumNet is the parent company of the Q Group, and through Mr. Jah's vision, the company expanded and today comprises 10 separate business entities.
You are interviewing me from QTV. We are the first private television in the Gambia. We have a radio which spans the whole country and even to Senegal. You know, we have done Q City. We have families, friends, and the Q Group family go there to relax and have a good time. You know, and many, many, many more. I think that the whole entire Q Group family, I would like to really thank each and every one, you know, of the family, from, you know, the drivers, technicians, managers, finance people, customer service, sales, everybody for their effort and their hard work, because you cannot achieve these numbers without hard work. So I would like to really thank everyone for the hard work and for the fact that we all work together as one team to achieve our goals.
He also had some advice for young up-and-coming entrepreneurs.
So I would like to encourage Gambians, especially young ones. There are a lot of virgin areas in the country which are not tapped. Let us get into business. Let us work towards being very good entrepreneurs. And I will just give them the advice my dad gave me. 22, 23 years ago, when I went to him to give me an advice, the late Imam Masja, that I don't want to work for anybody. I want to open my own business. I want you to advise me. He gave me one advice, and that is, you have to be a good Muslim. If you want to be a good entrepreneur, be a good Muslim. In effect, what he's saying is, be a good human being. A good human being or a good Muslim is somebody who doesn't lie, he doesn't cheat, he doesn't steal, he does things on time.
Lamin Yafa, Senior Manager Sales, thanked the subscribers for their loyalty to the company since inception, saying that without them, they wouldn't have reached the level they are.
This shows you that Qcell have successfully completed the numbers 3 series. So that means we have more than 1 million active subscribers in the country. And you can see Qcell network is available everywhere in the Gambia. But I also like to thank my team members. You know, this shows you that we have a very solid team and that we work together, and so that we are able to achieve what we achieve today. This is a monumental task, you know, to go through 1 million active subscribers. It's not a small thing. So we like to thank the team members, the subscribers, the government, and everybody that is involved with the Qcell service.
Babukar, a Qcell customer, said his main purpose for using the Qcell network is because of the quality of the network. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
Before we end this bulletin, a recap of our main stories. The directors of the National Environment Agency and Geology departments have been suspended for 6 months without salary for their alleged involvement in the circumstances leading to the Farabaugh Incident. Justice Minister Ba Tambadou made this revelation on Monday while sharing with the public through the media the Gambia government white paper on the report of the Farabaugh Banta Commission of Inquiry. A sexual and gender-based violence unit has been instituted. Their task is to investigate and prosecute gender-based violent cases. The Alcala of Fatoto says he wanted the enactment of provisions in the new constitution that will bar leaders from entrenching themselves in power. He made these remarks at the CRC Public Consultation meeting held in Fatoto. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Thank you very much for watching.